So you're going to come to the windows?
I'm busy being unhelpful. I got tired of straightening them. I am. I'm a housewife, I'm a mother, I'm a babysitter, and I work from years. No, I'm
Storage is making as long as it's prices, right? You get 5 or no longer.
just kind of Danielle Doors. I was way up. I've been wanting to go to 6 years.
Yeah, I brought the story with me.
I almost thought you were just want to see a picture? I've never been on a horse. I was on a donkey when I was 6. I went to the Canary Islands on a March break. And 60 months we just went around. That's why I've been wanting to go.
For example, well,
the day we left, one of the lawyers I work for, like, Ron, they sell them. It's a bit of a
Καλησπέρα everyone. Please take your seats so we can get started. Παρακαλώ καθίστε να αρχίσουμε.
They work really hard on everything.
Καλησπέρα everyone. It is 7:12 and the meeting will come to order. Thank you all for coming. I'm so happy to see such a good turnout tonight. We do have more than enough for a quorum. I will ask Father Alex to start us off with the opening prayer. Please stand.
Στο όνομα του Πατρός και του Υιού και του Αγίου Πνεύματος. Αμήν. Βασιλεύ ουράνιε παράκλητε το πνεύμα της αληθείας, το πανταχού παρών και τα πάντα πληρών, ο θησαυρός των αγαθών και ο ζωής χορηγός, ερθέ και σκήνωσον εν ημίν και καθάρισον ημάς από πάσης κυλίδος, και σώσον αγαθέτας φυγάς ημών ο Heavenly King, the Comforter, the Spirit of Truth, who are everywhere present and fills all things. Come to us and bless us, and cleanse us from every stain, and save our souls with joy. Through the prayers of our Holy Fathers, Lord Jesus Christ, the God, have mercy on us and save us. Amen. Καλησπέρα σε όλους. Καλώς ορίσατε. Παρακαλώ καθίστε. Ζήτησα την άδεια από τον Πρόεδρο να κάνω την προσοχή, να πω δύο λόγια και θα πρέπει να αποχωρήσω. Ήθελα σε αυτά τα δύο λόγια να πω, πρώτον, να ευχαριστήσω και τον Πρόεδρο και το Διοικητικό Συμβούλιο για την εργασία κάνουν αυτά τα νέα τα παιδιά μας. Ξοδεύουν πολλές ώρες εδώ στην κοινότητα και στην εκκλησία και τους ευχαριστώ γι' αυτό. Και χρειαζόμαστε την υποστήριξη. Χωρίς την υποστήριξη όλων μας, και όταν λέω υποστήριξη, και χρηματική και προσωπική και ψυχολογική και πνευματική. Εμείς δίνουμε ευλογίες, αλλά θέλουμε και τις δικές σας. Και λέμε στα ελληνικά ότι ένας κούκος δεν παίρνει την άνοιξη. Γι' αυτό πρέπει, και χαίρομαι που είστε αρκετοί απόψε, για να μιλήσετε, να ρωτήσετε, αλλά να ξέρετε ότι τα χρόνια δεν είναι εύκολα και μετά από τις καταστροφές που είχαμε και απ' έξω και στο υπόγειο και εδώ στην κουζίνα και όλα αυτά, μας πήρανε λιγάκι πίσω. Και πρέπει και εμείς όλοι μας να το υποστηρίξουμε. Το ένα μόνο που θα ήθελα να πω, να σκεφτούμε καλά. Εγώ πάντοτε έλεγα ποτέ να μην πουλάμε τίποτα. Αλλά έχει φτάσει καιρός, νομίζω, με αυτό το σπίτι που έχουμε εδώ, μόνο αυτό θα πω, εσείς θα κανονίσετε. Δεν θέλω να πω τι θα κάνετε, αλλά για μένα είναι an eyesore. Μπορεί να κάναμε μερικά λεφτά, αλλά μετά από το νοίκιασμα το τελευταίο, καταστρέψανε τελείως το σπίτι και είναι σε μόνο η τύχη, νομίζω, το μήνυμα, έτσι. Λοιπόν, κάπως πρέπει να κάνουμε να μην έχουμε an eyesore στη ζωή μας, έτσι. Εσείς κανονίστε, εγώ είμαι ένα άτομο, δεν θέλω να πω ποτέ τι να κάνετε ως κοινότητα, αλλά αυτή είναι η δικιά μου σκέψη. Δεν θέλω να σας κρατήσω, αλλά μερικά από τα νέα με αυτά τα παιδιά που έχουμε ξοδεύουν πάρα πολλές μέρες και ώρες εδώ πέρα και μερικές φορές στενοχωριούνται και αυτά, διότι δεν ακούνε, they don't hear positive things. And unfortunately, we all know, no matter what we do, we're never good. But these young people that have taken over have worked hundreds and hundreds of hours, and just like many of you that have been on the board of directors, have been presidents, have been in the executive, you know what it takes. So these young people have done a magnificent job so far. They need of positive input, and they need for us to thank them for everything that they have done and they will do. We need also, as parents, as grandparents that you are, also to be there for them, to assist them, and if we can be of help to them, be a help to them. And to be a little bit more positive. We need to be a little bit more positive. So I thank you for coming. May God bless you. These days that are holy are coming to celebrate the birth of our Lord. So we have a beautiful community here, a beautiful church. We need to continue to working together as one family, like our Archbishop says. We are one family, and as one family together, we are strong. Divided, we are weak. So let's continue being strong and working for the glory of God. Thank you very much. Let's take a lot.
Thank you, Father Ron. So our first order of business is confirmation of the agenda. Before I ask for a motion from the floor to approve the agenda, I'm just informed that we've got 11 people present. That's great. Before I ask for a motion to approve the agenda, I should note that this is the time. If anybody has any motion, any items to add to the agenda, this is the time to bring it up.
Chairman, can I add an item to the agenda? Is that possible?
Yes,
Okay, it's only twice a year that the shareholders, the members, the shareholders of this community have a chance to speak, offer their advice, give their thoughts. So I'd like to add an item to the agenda, near the end of the agenda, maybe the last item, and I'll call it for the good of the HCO. And put a limit of 20 minutes on it and allow the members to speak, come up with any ideas they might have. If they don't, that's fine. But it's just an opportunity for, and in fact, I suggested we do that for every meeting, but I mean, that's not for me to decide. It's just an idea.
Is that for specific or just a general?
It's general.
Okay.
Yeah.
you've heard the motion. Nicholas wants to add an item at the end of the agenda.
Yes, I'll move that.
So is there a second? Sure, please. So can I have a motion? All those in favor? Those against? Carried. So can I have a motion now to approve the agenda as amended? Sure, please. Seconded by D. All in favor? Those against? Carried. So the first item in the agenda now is the approval of the minutes. The minutes have been distributed. I think you've all had an opportunity to read them. Are there any corrections to the minutes? Any corrections to the minutes? There being no corrections, the minutes stand approved as distributed. One item that arose, the number 6, these items arising from the previous minutes. You may recall that in the previous assembly, Dr. George Trigilidis passed a motion to establish an ad hoc committee to examine options for the management and development of options for the Prince of Wales property. I think I will ask George Trigilidis to update us on that committee.
Καλησπέρα κύριε Πρόεδρε της Συνεδρίας, καλησπέρα σε όλους. Έτσι, όπως το είπε ο κύριος Πρόεδρος της Συνεδρίας, είναι ότι να ιδρυθεί μια επιτροπή για να εξεταστεί η πιθανότητα ανάπτυξης της περιουσίας στο Prince of Wales. And taking that mandate, we form a committee of 5 people, and with more than representatives, they all pledged to continue towards the first step. And we certainly did a lot of in-depth analysis of the situation. It's not, by the way, this committee is just an ad hoc committee. We respect that there is already existing a committee for this project, and they have done a wonderful job. I'm looking at George Ga over there and others in the committee. So we respect that committee, and we knew that we're going to, whatever we find that can be helpful, we would present it to that committee. So we did an in-depth analysis in the market, and we asked some experts in the building industry and the real estate industry, and we looked into the finances mainly, if we were to develop this property ourselves. And at this particular time, the cost of building, or putting up a building like that is prohibitive for the Hellenic community. We simply do not have the finances to start this project. And I don't know really, off the record here, whether the bank is going to finance us if they analyze we're talking about a lot of money. The cost of the building now, it would have estimated it will cost $45 million to build the building. But without applying for adding more floors to the existing zoning that we have, and we have to finance it for $45 million. And suppose some good person or bank will finance us, and the building is ready, we're not going to see full occupancy right away. And unofficial reports right now, we see a lot of buildings popping up in Toronto and here. We learned that they do not get filled up pretty fast. It takes time to fill up. It may take a year to fill up 50% of a building. I'm not sure, maybe you have different information. That's what we thought. Even lower than, but in a better situation, still the community will be called upon to make the payments to the mortgage of $45 million. We don't have that money. And suppose we do get the mortgage and we start the construction, in order to draw from that mortgage from the bank, is the minute you draw and to pay the expenses of construction, you have to start making payment principal and interest. And simply, it's prohibited. Είναι δυσβάστακτο το χρέος για την κοινότητα να πληρώνει τα σωσδόσεις. Δεν έχουμε τα λεφτά. Γι' αυτό το λόγο ευχαριστώ πάρα πολύ την Ελληνική Συνέλευση του Ιουνίου που έδωσε την εμπιστοσύνη σε εμάς και ευχαριστώ και τα μέλη της Επιτροπής που όλοι βοηθήσανε. Αποφασίσαμε να μην το συνεχίσουμε αυτή τη στιγμή. Ίσως μια άλλη εποχή, μια άλλη συγκυρία, another timing, and we'll have more subsidies coming in. Maybe it will make sense. Right now, it doesn't make sense. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Any questions?
Thank you. Any questions for George?
Mr. Chairman, we heard the legislators explain this. What kind of a building are we talking about? Is it an old age home? Is it
No. It's a straight apartment building.
I'm sorry?
It doesn't make any difference. It's still the same cost. It's a straight rental building.
For people to know.
It's a straight rental building.
Thank you.
We went through that. Residents.
That's fine. That's my question.
And we know what this is.
Thanks for that update, George. Thank you. If there's any more questions, but I'd like to move on, because this is just an update of what the committee did. You know, what we're going to do later on is a different subject. Can't see
I have a question. Isn't that building a heritage building? Wasn't it named a heritage building?
It has been put on the list, but it has not been designated as heritage. On a possible list
Is
for the
that
future.
an official statement?
That is the current official
Because
position.
if it is a heritage building, we can't touch it.
It is not yet.
Okay, thank you.
It is not yet, but it is on a list that might be.
Well, yeah, so maybe we should look into it and do something before they name it a heritage building.
We have.
Did you want to add something, George?
Thank you. It's not a heritage building yet. It's on a list, but the city of Ottawa has a list that it takes many years to review. The province is changing all of the laws with respect to planning and heritage buildings. The city of Ottawa is changing all of the zoning bylaws. So it's not only a bad economic time, it's a bad planning time. So in a couple of years from now, when the economy hopefully recovers, and when the city has instituted a new zoning bylaw that will determine what we can do as of right, we can then look at it again. But the community does have other options that we can explore and will continue to explore, but it's not a heritage building.
One more comment about this heritage building. I understand that we shouldn't do anything with this building right now, even demolish it. Demolish it because apparently if we make an application for a demolition permit, will trigger the heritage thing. You better leave it for a while. And we looked into that too, the possibility, all the ethics in. So our recommendation is to just let things as they are now. In a couple of years, maybe we can see how things stand and we can make an application to demolish it. It's a risk. Thank you.
Thank you, George. Look, I'll allow one more question and we have to move on.
Mr. Chairman, I've heard that from different people that you come to the microphone there. We heard from different people saying the city changing the bylaws, Ontario changing the certain bylaws and so forth. In case they change the bylaws, are we going to, because let's say this building becomes a heritage, are we going to get stuck with it? No. Thank you.
So now we'll ask President Sarkitakis to make his presentation.
Note check, all right. Good evening, everyone. Here and also online, we're live streaming tonight as well. Thank you all for your contributed help, whether it is volunteering, providing ongoing donations, or of course both. Your continued support is the main reason we are still going strong after all of these years. I'm confident that when we have one common vision, we will continue to grow and thrive. We are coming off a year of positives that includes our most successful Gold Plate dinner to date, and also one of our most profitable Greek fests. We also introduced a newly formed Trinity Foundation, which is a collaboration between the Hco and St. Elias. For me, the most positive thing I'm seeing is the surge in our youth program attendance, as well as youth involvement in all aspects of the Hco. Just come to an Odyssey practice and you'll see exactly what I mean. The room is just jammed, it's great. And speaking of youth involvement, I'm very proud to say that our board of directors also has 5 members under the age of 30. I want to keep my speech light and positive, but we do have to get real. Father Alex touched upon some things. The banquet center has been so beneficial for us for over the last 40 years. Without it, there is no Gold Plate dinner, and of course our current large-scale Greek Fest. These are hands down our 2 biggest revenue generators. What is interesting is most of the revenues generated from these 2 events are from non-Greeks. This is a positive because as a community, we can, and for years, have relied on this and not just our membership to survive. We also had a steady revenue stream from our event center events. However, the event center model has changed since COVID, and I don't know if we will see great numbers at the hall again. For years, the event center bridged the financial gap. Now, of course, in recent years, it is paying its bills, but the age of the building is showing. We are now faced with several infrastructure deficiencies. The last walkthrough, we found over 60 items that needed attention. The critical ones right now are the rooftop units at the event center, as well as the church. This has nothing to do with the lack of heat in the church basement. We will talk about options and full details for the church basement, as this is a pretty big priority. We've been told many times that our members pay enough and they don't want to pay more. So what do? We just end up going further into debt. Our problem is not spending, it is a lack of revenues. Expenses, repairs, equipment, food, drinks, utilities have often doubled. Revenues are almost staying the same. This is reality. It's time to think outside the box and stop looking at our event center through nostalgic glasses. Maybe it's time to rethink how we use our property and maybe find other ways to generate revenues. I am very proud of the strong and enthusiastic board I am a part of. Everyone has stepped up to help both around the HCO and, of course, during church services where we do have a very strong presence, which is great. We have 13 members who all bring something special to the table. Unfortunately, the reality is, in most cases, being on the board of directors has simply become free labor for the HCO. I actually spend more time on HCO affairs than my actual job. This is not an exaggeration. I can say the same thing for almost everyone on this board. None of us have extra time to spare, but we love our church and our community to the point where we put it ahead of our work and personal lives. Thank you. And one final thing to be positive, we are selling New Year's Eve tickets tonight. Mom is somewhere, so we'll see him. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that very informative presentation. Any questions for the president and his presentation? Well, thank you very much again. That was very informative and provided the challenges that we face. And now I'm going to ask the Vice President, Andres Coloniaris, to give us his.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. It is truly an honor to stand before you today as the second Vice President of our community. I'll be giving this Vice President's report on behalf of myself and our first Vice President, Alex Riklidis, who cannot be here with us tonight. We congratulate him and his family on the addition of their newborn baby daughter and wish them all the best. I want to begin by expressing my deepest gratitude to all of you, our members, volunteers, and supporters who continuously uplift our community and church. Serving along such a dedicated and passionate group is a privilege, and I'm humbled and grateful to continue serving for the betterment of our community. 2024 Greek Fest. First, let us take a moment to celebrate the incredible success of our 2024 Ottawa Greek Fest. Despite a few hours of rain, the Ottawa community came out in large numbers, enjoying our hospitality, culture, and delicious food. This success would not have been possible without our volunteers, the backbone of this event. From setting up to serving to cleaning up after the crowds, your hard work was nothing short of inspiring. Financially, Greek Fest brought in $843,000 in revenue this year, which is broken down to $739,000 in sales, $33,000 in sponsorships, and $71,000 in grant funds we received from the Ontario government. While our new bookkeepers are still finalizing expenses, we are trending towards a net profit exceeding $260,000. Congratulations to everyone who made this possible. Looking ahead, we are thrilled to announce that our 50th annual Ottawa Greek Fest will kick off on August 14th, 2025. This milestone event for our community and whole Ottawa community at large promises to be extraordinary, and we hope that all of you will make an effort to participate in this year's festival. If anyone is interested in joining the planning team or volunteering, we warmly welcome your involvement. Church Basement HVAC Project. The second major topic I want to discuss is the ongoing church basement HVAC project. This initiative is still underway and in its early stages. Balancing budget constraints with long-term needs of reliability, efficiency, and comfort remains a challenge, but we are actively working through this with our trusted partners in this field. As of Monday this week, we have brought in temporary measures that will provide heat and get us through this winter to ensure the space is safe to use for our community. That being said, financial support from community associations and members is very appreciated as we work through this challenge. An example of this type of generosity comes from the Daughters of Penelope, who recently donated $6,000 towards this project. We're incredibly grateful for their support and will keep everyone updated as we finalize the next steps of this project. Hellenic Event Center. 2024 has been a fairly successful year of building on the foundations we established in 2023. With the current team in place, we've been able to implement strong strategies and procedures, and client feedback has been overwhelmingly positive. I'd like to bring up a point specifically on client feedback. The majority of the feedback we receive comes mostly from outside clients and organizations. While no event is ever 100% perfect, we have seen a significant increase in positive reviews, compliments, and feedback from these clients outside of our community. We hear nothing but positives about our space, our staff, and the service we provide. Unfortunately, from within our own community, there have been comments, rumors, and statements made that are negative not only towards our community, but to our event center services and staff. We must remember that the event center is a business, and a growing business at that. We're still working on rebuilding our banquet business in a post-pandemic world. The board believes that we have the right team and procedures in place to do so. That being said, our community has to support this business so it can continue to operate and become a revenue center for years to come. We have to remember again that this is a place of business. It is not a public area for individuals to stroll through the lobby while an event is taking place, or have members enter into our staff offices during business hours to interrupt and chat. Our bookings are trending in the right direction as we head into 2025. We of course know that there is always room for growth, and I want to emphasize that the board is committed to exploring all options to ensure the event center serves both our church community and operates as a thriving business. HCO staff. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank our amazing staff. All of our staff works tirelessly day and night to ensure our community and event center run smoothly. In our event center, Mary is employed on a part-time basis, yet works full-time hours every day. Our manager, Peter, is hired on a full-time basis, but puts in over 60 to 80 hours a week. Amelia is currently doing the job of 2 people with the absence of Hco and assisting in ironing out the challenges of our new bookkeeping system and accounting firm. A big thank you to Penny Riclides, who has come out of retirement to assist Father Alex in the church during Nancy's absence. Of course, Lefteria and Kira Crisanti, as always, work tirelessly to make sure the church is ready for its services and sacraments. Without these dedicated people, what we do here would not be possible. And of course, we cannot forget our amazing priest, Father Alex. Father Alex's dedication and love to our church is so evident. He answers calls and emails and runs to homes and hospitals day and night. Without his tireless efforts, our church community would not be where it is today. Our staff understands the situation our community is in, financially and otherwise, and have made their own personal sacrifices as we continue to grow and navigate these difficult times. I would like to ask our membership to remember that our staff is busy, as well as short-staffed. If as community members you need something from them, please do not hesitate to approach them, but please take the time to arrange an appointment with them and be respectful of their time. Please do not walk into their offices and demand they drop what they're doing to service your request. This would not be tolerated at your or any other business and should not be the standard nor the expectation here. Facility and property maintenance. Facility and property maintenance remain ongoing challenges. At our last General Assembly, we mentioned our efforts to develop a comprehensive report on infrastructure upgrades. Unfortunately, as progress is made, new issues arise, creating the feeling of 2 steps forward and 3 steps back. One significant issue we've encountered this past month is with the HVAC systems throughout our church and event center. I want to make clear that these issues are not related to the HVAC needing to be done in the church basement. This is more work separate from that. Our HVAC contractor, Crestway Heating and Cooling, owned by George Ciatras, has provided exceptional support over the years with patchwork repairs. However, the time has come to address these major repairs. We have 2 rooftop units in the lobby of the event center needing replacement, 2 heat exchangers needing replacement in the church rooftop unit, and a few other minor repairs such as failed control boards, sensors, valves, etc. The total cost of all these deficiencies is estimated to be somewhere over $85,000. Crestway has begun working on these issues and has graciously agreed to a payment plan to help manage our cash flow. We owe a tremendous thanks to George and his team for their commitment to our community. Chris Anastasakos, a man who grew up in our community, handles our building and is a great resource for us. More maintenance continues in other aspects throughout the property with regards to electrical work, plumbing work, and other general issues we have and we are working towards fixing. We are very lucky to have built relationships with certain vendors that understand the difficulties our community has, especially when it comes to payment. Yet, knowing that, they still agree and continue to do work for us, while at the same time, in many cases, support our community with sponsorships and donations throughout our multiple events. Maryland rental property. I want to touch on the Maryland rental property. Due to our tight financial situation, the planned renovations for 2024 cannot be completed. We will work to prioritize these renovations in 2025 to restore this property's ability to generate an income. As a reminder, our 2024 budget did not include rental income for this property, and we will proceed similarly in 2025 to maintain realistic expectations. Is our community facing difficult times in regards to finances, memberships, and many other aspects? Yes. But with the community support and the hard work of our board of directors, we will get through this. Whether you are volunteering your time at events, working within our associations, lending your expertise to various initiatives, or providing financial support, your efforts do not go unnoticed. A wonderful example of this generosity was recently demonstrated by Hco, which completed many fundraising initiatives in 2024, many in support of our HCO. I am thrilled to share that Hco has committed to donating $20,000 to cover the costs incurred to repair the church audio system. These contributions, much like the Daughters of Penelope donation to the church basement HVAC project, the Sons of Pericles and Maids of Athena recent announced donation of $7,000, Philoptochos and the Seniors Association constant support, is a testament to the strength our community has when we come together. Our church has been around for 80 years, over 80 years, and we need to continue to work hard together to ensure it survives and remains here another 80 years. So our kids, grandkids, and great-grandkids can enjoy and create many memories, as all of us here have. I want to thank you all for being here today. Thank you for your hard work and love towards our Hellenic community of Ottawa. Together we've achieved so much, and it's through the dedication and generosity of our members that we continue. As long as we remain positive and do what is best for our beloved church and community, we will thrive for many years to come. I hope you all enjoy the upcoming Christmas season. May God bless you and your families.
Thank you, Andrea. Andreas covered a lot of items. Are there any questions for Andreas on any of the issues that you raised?
Ακούσαμε τον Αντρέα για τα ωραία λόγια που είπε και ευχαρίστησε αρκετά άτομα που βοηθήσαν την κοινότητα. Αρκετοί από αυτούς πληρώνεται. Το κορόιδο εδώ ούτε ένα ευχαριστώ. Καληνύχτα σας.
Nico, hold on. I think everybody appreciates what you're doing.
Forget it. I bail you out too many times and I get stepped on it over and over and over again.
Come back, Nico.
Nico,
we love you.
People appreciate what you're doing simply because it was mentioned tonight. I will ask the treasurer for his report.
I think we might be remiss, since we put on the record of donations of Daughters of Penelope, God bless them, and Hco, that Hco also has made a pledge for $10,000 for the Greek school. So I think that should maybe be on the record.
That's a good point. Hco has also pledged $10,000 towards the Hellenic Greek School from their golf tournament hosted late last year.
His departure was a bit of a surprise. He's not here now, but I think I move the motion to show the appreciation of what he's been doing. So if anybody
Thank you, Nico. That's a very good suggestion, and I think that's probably unanimous. Seconded by George Yogaris. All in favor?
My motion is that we should show we should show a sense of appreciation to Nick. I can understand why he felt the way he felt. So my motion is we do appreciate him. If you all agree, let's say so. I know it's too late, he's not here, but he'll read it, and he'll know we appreciate it.
Go to seconder from George. All in favor? Is anyone against it? It's unanimous. Thank you very much for bringing it up. And now I'm going to ask the treasurer to report.
Good evening, everyone. Okay, thank you, Danny and Alex and Andres for your words and updates tonight. I continue to be grateful to serve as treasurer of our community, and we truly appreciate you all taking the time to be here tonight, both here and online. While the challenges we face are significant, they are not without major successes, as highlighted by both Danny and Andrea tonight. As usual, I plan to provide a brief financial snapshot and emphasize the progress we've made and the steps we're taking to secure a positive financial future for our community. So we'll start with the account balances. So our main operating account right now is sitting at negative $150,000. So this really underscores the pressures on our daily operations. It's not new, and it's similar to numbers we've reported in the past for our main operating account and something we continue to actively manage. The remaining accounts are very similar to what we presented in the past and remain stable. While some funds remain healthy, the deficit of our operating account highlights really our priority to remain vigilant about managing our costs. Our GIC balances remain constant, and they're what you see before you. And if we move on to the next slide, I'll talk about our credit facilities and financial standing. So again, in previous updates, I've mentioned both the outstanding term loans for the roof repairs that we had done. The first one stands at around $241,000, and the second one stands at around $142,000. And our outstanding mortgage right now is close to $212,000. We have approximately over $200,000 in outstanding payables, bringing our total debt and payables to around $815,000. So this significant figure highlights the importance of again, careful management as we address both our short-term needs, like the HVAC systems and other initiatives that Andrea highlighted in his speech, and the community's long-term sustainability. With respect to bookkeeping updates, earlier this year we transitioned our bookkeeping services to BDO from Insights Accounting to address some of the inefficiencies and improve the accuracies in our financial reporting. Currently, we have 3 BDO resources that are on site weekly and working with our staff to clean up and reconcile our accounts and our financial data. So just for a quick update, so BDO has reconciled transactions from July to August, and right now they're working on September. They're trying to overcome challenges of miscategorization and missing data. We aim to be fully reconciled and caught up by the end of January, provided that everything goes well with the data cleanup, and we can and BDO can kind of do the work that we hope they can and have reporting in the new year that's accurate and up to date. So after the financial cleanup, BDO will conduct a comprehensive review of the administrative processes within our community and create a process manual. And this will document and standardize procedures and guide all transactional activities across the HCO, ensuring consistency and efficiency for the future and going forward. These items are critical as we work to support the priorities outlined in Danny and Andrea's speeches, and including addressing the pressing infrastructure needs and ensuring the financial health of both our properties and our church. While the road ahead is not without challenges, I'm confident that with the dedication of our board, the support and unyielding engagement of our members, and the strength of our community, we can achieve these goals. So let us continue to work together and build a sustainable future for our community. Thank you for your trust and for your support, and I welcome any questions.
Thank you, Alexi. Are there any questions for So then, since there are no questions, we'll move on. Committee reports is next. Starting with the bylaws committee. Who's speaking for the okay.
Hello. I'm Penny Reclides, and my bylaws committee fellow members are Bessie Vanopoulos and Margaret Zafiriou. Hello, Margaret. As you know, the new bylaws were passed at the last General Assembly. We are developing a detailed table of contents and will send the updated package to the Charities Directorate of CRA as soon as the Canada Post strike is over. During this current term of our committee, we plan to update the policy manual and to address comments that we've received throughout our term. At any time, if anybody has any comments or questions for us, you can always reach us. I think we all know each other, or through the church or community offices. Thank you.
Thank you, Penny. Next up is the Audit and Finance Committee.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Dean Karakasis. I'm here along with my colleague, Hco Ga, representing the Audit and Finance Committee of the General Assembly. We're pleased to provide you with an update of our findings and progress as a committee. As a reminder, the Audit and Finance Committee was a restructured committee from what was previously a standalone audit committee. This reconfiguration followed the bylaw changes that were enacted in June of this year, making a significant evolution in our scope and responsibilities. Among the duties of this committee are to work with the Board of Directors, ensuring sound financial planning, monitoring, and oversight, assist the Board of Directors in fulfilling its oversight responsibilities for financial reporting, internal controls, and risk management, work collaboratively to review, monitor, and advise on matters related to financial accuracy, transparency, and compliance, address any audit findings, concerns, or recommendations, and monitor management's corrective actions, report at General Assemblies as to the Board of Directors' compliance to bylaw, policy, legal, and regulatory requirements, and act as a steward for maintaining public trust and confidence in the HCO's financial management practices.
Ladies and gentlemen, this evening we will not be reporting on the audit itself, as that will only take place in 2025. Instead, we will focus on other matters. You can't hear me? So basically tonight we won't be focusing on any audits because that will happen in 2025. Instead, we will focus on other matters, providing insights from our observations and offering recommendations to the board. Θα θέλαμε να εστιάσουμε σε 4 σημεία απόψε, so we would like to draw your attention in 4 points. Point number 1, financial planning, monitoring, and oversight. We found that the Board of Directors has established a detailed 2024 budget, which has been compared against the 2023 budget. However, the process of monitoring this budget has faced challenges due to suboptimal quality of the financial data. In response, the board has taken decisive action by transitioning from the current bookkeeping service provider to a highly qualified firm. This is exactly what our treasurer touched on previously. Now, point number 2, financial reporting, internal controls, and risk management. The board has acknowledged the need for updated financial procedures and has begun addressing this with the assistance of the new bookkeeping firm. This firm will contribute to developing policies and procedures, I should say financial policies and financial procedures, with our committee participating actively in this process. The risk of inadequate data quality remains unless the community secures full-time, consistent bookkeeping services. Furthermore, we have recommended succession planning aligned with the newly developed policies and procedures to ensure sustainable practices moving forward. So basically what we're suggesting is to implement financial rigor in what we do and how when it comes to community finances. Point number 3, collaboration and regulatory compliance. We are pleased to report that we have met with board representatives, and have agreed on future collaboration to address existing deficiencies. Additionally, the board has fulfilled its regulatory responsibilities for GST insurance and obligations to the Archdiocese. Last point, bylaw compliance. During our review, we identified one instance of non-compliance with the bylaws. More specifically, the work undertaken to update the church's audio systems exceeded the threshold requiring 2 or 3 competitive tenders. This decision was explained as a deliberate choice to support a long-standing superior supplier to the community. Nevertheless, it is our duty to bring this matter to the attention of the members. Thank you.
So allow us to conclude that the members of the Finance and Audit Committee remain committed to supporting the Board of Directors and fostering transparency, accountability, and sound financial practices within the community. Through collaboration and ongoing efforts to address challenges, we aim to strengthen internal controls, enhance financial reporting, and uphold regulatory and bylaw compliance. As volunteers, we hope we bring our expertise and dedication to ensure that the community continues to operate with integrity and in the best interests of its members. We look forward to our continued participation with the board in achieving these shared goals and thank members of the General Assembly for entrusting us with this important responsibility. Mr. Chair, with your permission, we're prepared to take any questions.
Thank you, Dino. Thank you, Spiro. Are there any questions or comments for Dino or Spiro on their report? I think you're covered up everywhere. Thank you. Now, I should mention, by the way, that the committee is short of 1 member. The committee consists of 3 to 5 members, and right now there's only Dean and Spiro are the only members of the committee. Are there any volunteers or nominations to appoint another member of this to the committee? Any volunteers or nominations? We need to have at least 3 folks. There's only 2 of them. It's an important committee. It doesn't take a lot of work, I think. Dean, does it?
Oh, hey, we're really nice guys.
Nico? No. Okay.
I'd like to nominate George Sabella.
No, that's fine. Bessie just nominated George Sabella. Is there a second? Okay, George, do you accept? But at least 3, as I say, you can have up to 5 members. If anybody else is interested in joining them, they'll be happy to accept. So a members committee is up next.
Everybody, go to the next slide. So I presented this in June when we did our GA, and we showed 2022, 2023, and then 2024. You'll see that year to date, there hasn't been actually much movement from the spring, from a membership side. So more people have not submitted their memberships. I will say, as the Board of Directors membership, we will take complete ownership in the fact that we do not have any formalized programs or do any membership drives or anything like that throughout the year. That absolutely falls on us. But we are taking steps for the upcoming year, 2025, to start looking at that and and coming up with ideas. So if anybody has any thoughts, welcome them. By all means, hit me up or come approach me after the fact, and I'd be happy to hear them out and brainstorm on some ideas that we can drive memberships up. Next slide. So you'll see here, this is our change amount from 2023 to 2024. We are in a negative decline from a membership perspective. You'll see our numbers have gone down right across the board, from couples all the way down to students, which is concerning, of course. And I think that these numbers, like everyone that's oohing and awing right now, should be shocking to everybody. As Danny has said, and Alexia said, and Andrea, our community will not survive without our membership. So, you know, we're here for a reason. If membership doesn't come, then, you know, then, hey, what are we here for, and do we close the doors at the end of the day? A little bit harsh, but that's the reality. Next slide. On the positive, because our memberships have gone down, the revenues have almost stayed the same. We actually had an increase of, I think, 42.50 from an overall revenues. So, and that is because of the increase that we did in 2024 memberships, going up from 300 to 500, 240 to 400, etc. So, still not a permanent fix, because you can't just keep on continually raising prices and raising membership fees. That's not a solution. That's just, it's another Band-Aid approach to addressing a larger problem. So this is just more summary. So memberships, 214 less that should be less than 2023. We did have a 42.50 increase in 2024 in memberships. Stewardships, we have 75 currently. That represents approximately about 6,000 in monthly recurring membership dues, and then about 72,000 annual recurring membership dues. Stewardships has gone up. I don't have the exact percentage, but it has gone up from 2023 where we're at to 2024, that is positive. And that goes into what we're going to be talking about. So memberships are significantly lower, negative numbers across the board, as I mentioned. Total fees have increased, but at the end of the day, our membership needs revising. We cannot just keep on simply increasing the amounts and relying on, realistically, an aging community to keep on supporting us. That's just a fact of the matter. Our seniors, the people that have helped build this community, have been paying the way for a lot of people, and we need to do more. Myself, my generation, the younger generation, everybody included. That's just point of fact. Next slide. So stewardship in 2025. So as I presented in the last GA, we were looking at a stewardship model. We are 100. I will admittedly say that we are behind in what the planning and the programming is. Unfortunately, you know, who knew that a regular job would actually come in the way of community problems? So we have formulated, I guess, a group, if you will, to take steps in looking at stewardship. And if people don't know what the stewardship model is, but basically it's you remove flat fees from your membership model, come up with a monthly donation, if you'd like to call it, that people would sign up for. And it's a suggested amount, and people who sign up for the stewardship model pay what they can. If they deem that it's $50 a month, they pay $50 a month. If they deem that it's $10 a month, it's $10 a month. And the stewardship model is more about communication and marketing, and it focuses it becomes the main focus being the Orthodox Church and our church. Not focusing on events, not focusing on, you know, we need to do more dances, more this. It's really focusing in around the community and bringing back our community around the church. That is essentially high level what the stewardship model is. I have engaged with Bill Marianes, who's out of Atlanta. He was one of the ones in the US that literally, I'm going to say about 20 years ago, went coast to coast talking to Greek communities and their churches about why they should adopt it. It is very, very well adopted across the US. The communities that have adopted it have come out of significant debt. I've come across multiple communities who are in the same state that we are in today, with significant debt, aging community. They've adopted the stewardship model. Fast forward 5 to 10 years, and they are now cash positive, so much so that some of them are even contemplating removing all businesses from their community center. Like when I say businesses, we are no longer an event center. We are no longer holding dances. We are no longer doing this. It's all focused around the community and the church, and focusing in on orthodoxy. We've also engaged with the Archdiocese of the U.S. because unfortunately the Canadian Archdiocese does not have a stewardship division. We do not have one. So there's no support that we can get from the Canadian Archdiocese. So we've engaged with Father James Cordari's side of the U.S., who's been more than kind enough to forward us a ton of resources. We are going through them. I've shared them with a small group that we are currently, and we are going to engage with him again to help us walk through what this stewardship is going to look like. Next slide. It is going to be a multi-phase approach. I don't think, being in this community for as long as I've been, I don't think we're ready for a light switch approach where we can just turn it on and then bang, it's going to be there. I think we need to do a phased approach. Phase one is we need to formalize a stewardship committee. This committee needs to sit separate from the board of directors and separate from the church. It needs to act as its own independent entity with dotted responsibilities to the church as well as to the board of directors. The reason for this is because, as we all know, by the end of 2025, there's going to be elections, there's a new board coming in. Not that anybody is evil, not that anybody is going to do anything to hurt this community, but everyone has their own ideas on what their own approach is. If we are going to adopt a stewardship model, this is something that we need to fully commit to, and we need to fully have as a separate entity that is going to make this approach. Phase two is we need to implement an education and a marketing strategy. The majority, I'm sure a lot of people, if you talk to people about why they're not community members, they're immediately going to ask you, what's in it for me? What am I going to get out of it? A lot of people do it out of their own heart because that's just what we've done. That's what, our immigrant parents did when they came off the boat. They needed a central place to go to. They donated because that's what they wanted. The unfortunate reality is the generation that's coming up, everyone, it's all what's in it for me mentality. So we need to communicate a proper marketing and a communication strategy on why this is important to our community. Part of that, this is something that George Savelis had produced, is sharing our financials on a monthly basis, right? Tell everybody in our community where we're at. Don't wait twice a year to share what our finances are, or people going to Tim Hortons and talking about, oh, we're in debt this, oh, there's this. All of a sudden, Andrea decided that he wanted to get his uncle to come paint the community center for $85,000 and whatever is going to be spread. We need to share the financials so it's in fact and it's in print, so people can actually see where we're at, what we have. And then that way, when they look at it and we ask them to become stewards of our community, they'll look at it and say, you know what? Instead of me giving $20 a month, I'm going to up that to $100 a month, or whatever the case is. And we're not going to ask anybody for it. It's going to be out of the goodness of your own hearts, whatever you deem is appropriate, and that is what we're going to be doing. And then implement phase three is fully adopt the stewardship model, monthly payments, no minimum amount. It is going to be a phased-in approach in the way of, if people do want to pay whatever the suggested flat rate membership fee is, which is, I keep saying 600, and Zafi keeps on laughing at me, it's 500 as a membership fee, you have that option as well. If you prefer not to, that's what it is. And if you look at the world today, if you enroll in Spotify, you enroll in Netflix, you enroll whatever, everyone's used to a monthly recurring revenue, right? And a monthly recurring payment. So put your credit card on file, sign up for it, and then we'll just dock it every year. And then at the end of the year, you'll get a letter that's going to say, Arimapri, thank you very much for your continued support of the community. You donated this much. Would you be willing to increase that by 10% or whatever percentage it might be? Of course, you say Trump just got in. You were happy he got in. You should be doing more. So, anyways, and then of that donation, and then we keep on upping it from there. So, next slide. And I think that's it. Membership side. Any questions?
I hear you. I'm probably in the minority here, but I heard this twice, 3 times say we shouldn't be raising membership fees. And I state that the last time we did this, we went 25 years without raising the fees I think that's stupid. We have inflation, there's all this. And if we're talking about increase, we're talking about over and above inflation, not including inflation. And we should be paying inflation increases somehow factored in on a yearly basis. And it's been bugging me for years. And finally got others.
Well, I'm glad you did. So on the, I do agree that inflation increases should happen. The reality is, in speaking to, you know, I'm not going to say that I'm old, but people that are younger than me, the reality is the community becomes part of your disposable income expenditure, right? As you people are getting married and you know they want to go out. Are they going to sacrifice paying for that coffee, for their lunches, for going out for dinners, for this, for the community? And I'm not saying it's right or it's wrong, but that's just a fact. People weigh what they're going to be spending on. Everything is expensive nowadays. You know, Adi's going to love my comment. God bless the carbon tax. So all that to say, I agree with you. I think an inflation increase should be applied every year to whatever the membership model might be, whether it's a flat rate or it's a monthly. I do agree with you. So, now we got no vote.
Yeah, just a clarification on the slide you put up for stewards versus members. Right there. So the 75, are they included in the 571 or they're on top?
They're included in the 571.
Right. Is the 71 including the 166? No.
Yes, it is.
Oh, it is.
So their total annual that contributions are included in the total membership fees.
Thank you.
The three phases?
Fix the speaker.
Thank you.
Fix the system so we can hear.
We're
It's
good.
a balance issue. Relax.
Thank you. We are so relaxed. And do
You want me to
remember,
speak without it? I can speak without it.
do you remember that we are on YouTube at this moment? So Dean's lovely comment about Andreas's uncle painting, that is just like saying Mr. Jones's cousin painting. That was
All comments are made in jest.
Thank you. So what I would like to ask is if it's possible, and wouldn't expect an answer right away, but if you could put a timeline on each phase. I think this is extremely important. We're at the same spot now as we were in June, except this is amazing, this phases, but in terms of moving forward, my suggestion is to put a timeline on each phase.
Yeah, and I do agree with you, Penny. I think we do need a timeline. I didn't put any dates on there because realistically, like I said, personal life got in the way. I had to take ownership of it. Traveled for 6-7 weeks straight for work. Did not have any time to pay attention to this, unfortunately, and that's just the reality of it. So I have Tassi, I have George, I have Georgina from Philopikos, Alex as well. So anybody else that would like to help join and start building their stewardship model out, I'm absolutely happy to have you join us to help flesh this out and start implementing this. The timelines aren't there because we need to take the first steps. So the first steps would be reviewing some of the content, engaging with Father James, and engaging with, obviously Father Alex, yes. Father James, I met from the Archdiocese, getting him involved. And then, because I got to find out what his schedule's like. And who knows, maybe he's willing to come up here at no cost to us. We don't know. So all these timelines will be there, and I would be happy to share them and send out a communication and put it in the weekly newsletter.
Thank you, Dean.
No problem.
Θα πω ότι βλέπω είμαστε 571 members και από τα 571 317 είναι seniors. Οι υπόλοιποι που χτίσαν αυτή την κοινότητα είναι κορνίζες τώρα. Και δυστυχώς και οι υπόλοιποι θα φύγουμε και δεν θα δούμε αυτό που θέλουμε. Μια υγιή κοινότητα. και θα ήθελα περισσότερα respect για τα seniors και οι γριούλες που πηγαίνουν και οι παππούδες στην εκκλησία κάθε Κυριακή, αυτό είναι πιο πολύ από το stewardship. Ευχαριστώ.
Hello. Makude. Kind of a follow-up to Penny's. So for something like this, a plan like this, how do we go about deciding if we're implementing this, and by when would be a realistic timeline? Like, is it a collective, and would it be realistic for 2026, not 25, 26? To implement it? Is that realistic? Do we decide?
Yeah, it absolutely is. And this is something that I need to bring back to the bylaws committee to figure out, is this something that needs to be voted on at the GA? Is this something that needs to be, discussed? Does this committee need to be voted on at a GA? Do we need to build all this up? These are questions that I have for the bylaw committee that I haven't had a chance to have a conversation with.
So is this something realistic for 2026? Or
I think it's realistic for 2025, to be honest with you, at least the phased approach of it, like the dual membership model, and then 2026 going full on, stewardship. But that's my, expectation, but we'll see.
1107. Thank you, Dina. I just want to make a motion. And you kind of reinforced it about the financials. I'm always in the financials. I wanted to mention it in the treasurer's report, but here I am. I was just a little busy on my phone, so sorry. I want to make a motion to the General Assembly that we need an interim statement on, not an audited statement, an interim statement on all our operations. What we saw today was just balances. We're in the red, $1 million, whatever that is, and that's very important. But we don't know how the performance of our operations are doing. Yes, the festival did well. Yes, Gold Plate did amazingly. Thanks to my brother and Ike and everyone involved. But we don't really know. We didn't see that today. And I think it's incumbent on at least twice a year. This is one of the two fall assemblies. We do get the audited report, that's one. But today we didn't get that, and I think it's important. We did have it during COVID. We had tight controls. We actually did very well in COVID in terms of controllership. Yes, we've invested in maintenance and repair, I get that. There's a lot of deferred maintenance, and Alex and you mentioned it, Mr. Vice President number 2. So we understand that. But we don't know what the operations are doing, how they are. We know the church loses money. We'd like to know how the banquet hall did, even if it's losing it. Is it worse? So just generally, how's Greek dancing doing? All that. We didn't see that today. So I think it's important. We can't avoid this. The General Assembly needs to know how we're doing and where we're doing. We just have auditors, you said new auditors talking about administrative practices, but we don't know how the performance of our operations are doing. So yes, we had the balances. We appreciate that. That gives us a full picture of our balances that are all in the negative, and we have some, GICs and all that. I get that. But the operations, it's easy to be rich, but if you don't have a job, your money will sort of, disperse. So that's, it's not a membership thing, but it is important because the membership needs to know that. And today we didn't get that, and I think it's important. And I want to make a motion that we do have interim financial statements, much like the audited statements. They don't need to be audited. So people are aware where we are 6 months in, 8 months in. It's December now. We should at least know how our 6 month did, or 8 month. So that's my motion.
If I could just paraphrase. So is the motion to have at least twice at the GA a detailed account of events, profit loss, what we did.
Much like the audited statement, but we don't need the auditors to check. Yes.
Yeah, just an overall high level.
Run a report. Yes. That's it. We don't want auditors coming in halfway. We don't need that.
And you want it what at the GAs? One in the spring and the one in the fall?
At minimum. Yes, thank you.
I second the motion.
107? Sorry about it happened in membership, but you mentioned about, finances.
Tony, I got big shoulders, man. It's all good. Don't worry.
No, thank you, Tony, for the comment and the question. I think with respect to financial statements, we have the new bookkeepers are working right now to provide those financial statements for us. Usually at a GA, we do come prepared with statements as best we can, but we've never been able to fully rely on them, as you've all seen if you've attended or seen any of those financial statements. We're hoping with these new bookkeepers, they can turn things around, they can do the proper data cleanup to ensure that we do have proper financial statements going into 2025. In an ideal world, as George Savelis brought up, as Dean brought up, having monthly reporting for the community is ideal and is something we want to work towards. And I'm hoping with these new bookkeepers, we can. And I think that's their plan. So with a bit of time and with a bit of patience, we will get that and we will make them public to the community.
George, number 94.
So are we carrying a motion to have?
So the motion is at least have an interim financial statement, not monthly, for the membership to review and ask questions, because it's very simple to just say things, and I get it, I understand what you're saying.
I guess we couldn't get one for the GA.
Okay, but we want to make it.
I agree
very
with the
simple. That's the motion.
Yeah, the motion is already in the floor. It was seconded by Nick Floricas. So now we do discussion.
So just on behalf of the Finance and Audit Committee, we've already discussed this with the board through the representation. We have made this point, they understand this point. When we made our report, we talked about data integrity. So there's a need for some work to data integrity, but we've made this point, and they've agreed, and I'll support the motion, I've got a problem with it, but we've made the point that at General Assemblies, they do need to have a more detailed report, and they've agreed to that. They're already on that. So we've got no issue as a committee, we have no issue with them doing that. I do have a question still on the data, just for clarification. When you have membership categories with couples, and you show a number of 145, is that human beings or is that households? Households. So that's households. So there's two people in there.
Yeah, I have a question as well about the stewardship. I think a good idea would be to give a target to people, what we need to run the community per capita, whatever, or couple, whatever, per family, what we expect. So if we give that, instead of just say, give 10 if you can, give 100, give 200, give 500 a month, whatever it is, or give a target and say, to run this community costs 100 a month per person or whatever, and that's probably something, once you get the financials now, I know that you're moving forward to understand and keep monthly budgets and moving forward like that, you'd be able to say, based on this coming year, which I think that's what I heard, that you'd be able to say, this is what we would need on average per. So if you think, okay, there's many people that can't afford that, but hey, if you're doing better, give double that per whatever. Or if you can't afford it and you can only give 10 a month, that's good too. But give a target, and instead of, hey, let's give 10% more this year. What do you need? I mean, that'll cover the inflation as well, I think.
Is your last name Savelis? Because George Savelis, that was his proposal, right? And that's why those monthly, once BDO has that information, we'll know exactly what it costs per person to be able to run the community and how many memberships we need to be able to come out into that profitability phase.
Yeah, I've spoken with George many times, and I brought it up in other council meetings, and I think
that's exactly what
I think if, with all due respect, if it's possible, and I've asked this before, like when we do the membership drive now, just divide it by the number of people and give a target for, instead of say, give what you can, say for stewardship, say this is what we need. We need $1,200 a year per whatever, or $1,500, that'll cover our debt, or new, HVAC, or whatever we need. Let's do that. That's
agreed.
Bureau for the last.
Thank you. Is it possible to go to that slide that listed the different phases? So I'm just trying to wrap up my head around this concept. So the ideal future state is to have a mix of annual memberships plus stewardship, or is it to wipe out membership?
It's to wipe out the flat membership fee to go totally to a monthly contribution by member. That's the if you follow the true stewardship model, like what the churches have done in the States, that's exactly what they do. But it is a hard thing to get people to switch. Some people prefer to do the one lump sum payment, and if that's what they decide to do, then they can do that, right? That's why in the phase 3, it's a combination approach to be able to offer both initially until we get to the point where people can fully appreciate how the stewardship model would work and remove that flat rate lump sum fee.
Okay, that's what I didn't understand, because when it said combination approach, I thought the stewardship would cannibalize the membership.
No.
But if that's what you want, then it's...
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Now the motion on the floor is.
There's another question.
I've heard many times today, cleaning up data, moving things around. I've cleaned up data, I've moved things around, but I also clean up history, so the numbers follow through. What I'm asking is, how much cleanup are you doing, and how far back in history are you cleaning up so we have comparison numbers?
I guess with the new bookkeepers, we're going as far back, like we have the historical data within the system. They're just migrating to a new company, and it's going to take some time to categorize things properly. I'm really not going to go into details. I'm not an expert. They are. That's why they brought them on. They're finding a lot of revenue sitting in clearing accounts. They're trying to categorize things and put them into the right place. So once they do that, we will have accurate reports. I agree with Tony's motion. We need to have financial reports, but if I bring something that's not accurate, it's just as useless. So it will take time. They're targeting Jan 1st, and once that happens, as soon as we get accurate data, we will distribute it to the community.
Is this for me? I was almost done.
Committee.
No problem.
It won't hurt to put a sign up in the entrance of the church saying, have you paid your membership yet? Because sometimes somebody will see that and say, oh, I haven't paid my membership, or have I paid? You may pick up one or two.
Yep.
It's just something there to remind them membership.
Agreed.
You're not pushing them to pay, it's have you paid?
Yep. Agreed. Totally agree.
Tony, this is the final convention.
Yeah, I will withdraw my motion. So I will withdraw it, given the more information, but we can't have that for the next 2 meetings, data entry and misallocations. Let's get these guys working, let's get our reports so we know where we are. Okay, thank you. Yeah, I withdrew it, withdraw.
All due respect to my colleagues on the bylaw committee, if you're going to have a stewardship committee, if I read between the lines, that lasts beyond boards, you need to constitute that tonight. So you have a mandate of who's on your committee, it's in the record here, and secondly, when your mandate ends. So, and you can all be renewed, but if you have names of people that are working, I would move that all.
I think we're 5. So in the stewardship model, traditionally, Dean, there is no formalized committee, right? It's called a committee. It's just a group of people that are promoting the stewardship model.
Different. That's you recruit whoever you need to be a worker bees to do your work. But if you have a committee that sets the standards, who says this is the information we put out, this is what we're doing, this is how we analyze, this is how you report to the General Assembly, and you don't want it to be to the term of the board, you should be the same way you establish the bylaw committee or the finance committee, you should establish it tonight. And ask the bylaw committee eventually write a terms of reference to this committee, because otherwise you just exist, right? And people come in and out, and there's no governance around what's done. So my motion would be that we form a stewardship committee this evening, and I will nominate those 5 names, or however you want, to serve on the stewardship committee, and that it should report regularly, which is in the bylaws, to the General Assembly. And I will suggest that the term go for 1 year to start. So from this year, in November to whenever the fall meeting is next year.
So this will be a General Assembly committee?
Correct. And reporting only to the General Assembly. Works with the Board of Directors, doesn't mean you don't work with the Board of Directors or Father Alex or anyone else, but this is when you provide your reports, is to this assembly.
So the motion is that we establish, that the General Assembly establish a stewardship committee to report at least within a year?
Well, the mandate term would be for 1 year, and then whatever.
For a mandate.
In other words, we'll come back in a year and say, you guys still want to do this or not?
For a stewardship committee to report back to the General Assembly within a year?
Well, no, they should report it the same way all the other committees report. They should report it every General Assembly, but their mandate term would end in a year. And then they can go again, like every other committee, right? You can say who wants to go to the committee or whatever. But you should name the names of who's going to start it at least, to put it on the record.
Yeah. We have a seconder. So first we have to establish the committee, and then we ask for nominations for the motion. So, you've heard the motions for the establishment of the stewardship committee by the General Assembly. The mandate to last for a year, to be reporting to each General Assembly on their operations. All in favor? Those against? Carried. And now we need to, I should mention there should be a 5-member committee. That's what you suggested.
Wow, so only because I heard that there were 5 people.
Well, maybe 3 to 5 with other committees, 3 to 5, so can we have volunteers for?
So I'll mention the names of the people who've been in the conversation. It's been myself, George Savalas has attended a couple meetings, Tasiliras, Georgina Carlos, Alex Nagliti, and Father Alex has been invited, but unfortunately, apparently he's a very busy guy and can't attend these meetings all the time. So Penny Rapidas, I think, was invited as well. I'm not too sure. Anyways, so those are the people that we've had some initial discussions around it.
I'm happy to nominate those people.
So is there a seconder for those 5 nominees? Well, you heard the names to the nominees accepted.
Yes.
George, yes.
Okay, everybody accepted.
Is the committee limited to 5 or?
No, it can be as many people as you want.
Because I'd like to nominate myself.
And we would love to have you.
So, I think if everybody accepts the motion for the 5 nominees plus the next one for Nico, is everybody in agreement? Who's in favor? Those against? Carried. Sorry, it was a little confusing, but I was confusing.
Thank
you. So the last item now is something that Nicholas Rourke had brought up initially for a short discussion on the good of the HCO.
I guess since I brought it up, it's only fair that I'm the first one to speak. When we met with the bylaw committee, the one area that was of great concern to me was conflict of interest. All kinds of conflict of interest. And we have a situation now in this community, which as far as I'm concerned, is a conflict of interest. The banquet center manager is opening a restaurant. And as far as I'm concerned, that is a conflict of interest. And really, he should be replaced. I have nothing against the individual. In fact, I'm quite close to him and friendly with him. I'm supporting the Hellenic community of Ottawa. It is a clear conflict of interest, and it should not be allowed.
Thank you for the comment. The board has had discussions about this, and with the banquet hall manager, the board doesn't believe, or the executive doesn't believe it is a conflict of interest, but we report to the GA, so.
Let me point out where the conflict of interest is. In fact, I think it was you who mentioned about the fact that the banquet center manager, being a manager, doesn't work 9 to 5, 5 days a week. In fact, you mentioned 60 hours a week and maybe more. Owning a restaurant and opening a restaurant requires another 60 hours a week. That's 120 hours. Are you telling me that that's not a conflict of interest? There's no person in the world who can put in 120 hours. So that is a conflict of interest. Who is going to lose the time in that process? It's a conflict of interest.
So I can't say who's going to lose the time, because currently he's not an owner or operator of a restaurant. He's the banquet manager. If his performance changes, then that's a different conversation I'll have for him. But I can't judge his future performance. Plus, the comment about working 60 to 80 hours a week is true. Sometimes he's here at 7 a.m. opening for events. On Friday, he was here at 3 a.m. closing an event. Phone calls, ordering, weekends, all this stuff. So yes, he does work many hours. I don't know what his performance at the restaurant is going to be. I can't speak for him or the future, but at this point, the board doesn't see it as a conflict of interest. But if we do see his performance change, then that's a different conversation.
I just saw something on the website where it says that the Greek Souvlaki house, or what it's called, out of Montreal, that is operating at the Hellenic community. Now, it doesn't say Hellenic Community Center. And you can, if you Google that, you'll see about this particular restaurant. And they say about us, and you'll see that it says Hellenic Community of Ottawa, located on their website. Now you can.
Jimmy, I'm just going to say this. I think that this is a personal matter now, and I don't think that it is.
No, I'm just wondering if we're renting our kitchen out.
No, so.
We're not. Okay, that's all.
Yeah, that's a very good point. That was part of an issue we had last year. Earlier this year, that was a potential. I think it's probably an old link, and we'll just need to clean that up. Thanks for bringing it up. We'll clean that up.
Okay, so I'd like a motion to adjourn them. I think we've covered everything that was on the agenda. Can I have a motion to adjourn?
Brother
George?
I think you forgot to approve the minutes of the last meeting.
No, they were approved. There were no corrections. If there's no corrections, there is no need for a vote to approve them.
If you have something to say, step to the mic, please.
I have an item for the good of the HCO. So, for the first time since COVID, we, the Hellenic Dance School of Ottawa, has, by 5 people, almost reached our pre-COVID numbers. We are so excited. We are at 98 dancers registered with Odyssey members. Bring your youth. We're growing and we're continuing to grow. Please, please, if you have any questions, come find me. The more the merrier.
Bravo. Thank you, Lenny. Thank you for your hard work. I'll also just quickly before we speak, also touch on that our Greek school numbers are also growing. And I believe earlier today we heard that the Greek school is getting a grant of $6,000 from the Hellenic Heritage Foundation. They're giving $50 a student. We have 120 students registered. So the Hellenic Heritage Foundation is helping us with purchasing of books and that kind of stuff. So we received that today. So all youth programs are growing.
Just a couple questions from the financial statements of last 2023. So I asked last time, there was no information. $190,799 was spent on repairs and maintenance under general operations. What was that for? 109,799
For last year?
for 2023. Under general operations. There's other expenses for repairs and maintenance.
I'm going to let that question, let it answer by Alexis, but the thing is, we moved on now, okay? This should have been brought up when the item was on the floor. Okay?
I'm not, Emmanuel, do you mind if we discuss it maybe offline? Because I'm not going to be able to tell you the details of that right now. Like, we can go through it, and we can talk after the GA, or we can correspond via email. I know you may have not gotten an answer before, but maybe I can talk to you about it after. If that's okay.
Okay, it's a pretty big item. I thought we'd go offhand. Second one was equipment rentals. The just between 2022 and 2023 was $100,000 increase. Is there any information on that?
I don't know. I can't speak to the exact specifics of each expense just off the top of my head, but those expenses include a lot of things. Equipment rentals comes from Greek Fest, Gold Plate, events we host. We rent a lot of equipment and different machinery and stuff like that. So
sure,
but I can't speak to the specific.
Year after year,
Not necessarily. Costs go up. Greek Fest increased in size. Gold Plate increased in size.
Okay.
Business in the banquet center. I don't know.
Okay. Thanks.
I have a suggestion. When you send the weekly letter or the monthly letter, if you need volunteers to help out on something, you should mention it, because there are many people who are willing to help, but they don't know where. And this way, you know, they can call, put a number, they can call, and they can come and spend some hours volunteering. So, and I would like to wish you all the best, and thank you very much for being willing to help out all these young people. And
I think that's unanimous. Thank you all.
I have you all in Greek school.
Sorry, I just want to reiterate to you guys, Jimmy just passed me his phone, and there's an advertisement here. It says about us, Village Souvlaki. The Greek village Souvlaki is located at the Hellenic community of Ottawa, and is proud to be part of Ottawa's Greek heritage. Is this misinformation, or what is it?
Yeah, so that's an old link when he was trying to rent out the kitchen. And no, this is not, we actually brought this up, and we nipped it in the bud. It's got to be an old link, and it just looked at you. We're gonna correct it.
That's fine. Yeah, so again, on the reporting, Alexi, we'd like to know what the banquet hall's doing, the performance, and we want that pronto. No allocations, make that a priority. We want to know how the banquet hall is performing, and so we have a full account, you know, in line with what Mr. Florica is saying. People can moonlight, they can have multiple jobs, that's fine, but you know, our interest is the Hellenic community of Ottawa, and I think that's what the membership is, and we would like a report on the banquet hall only, and not allocations moving out. A clear, detailed report on the banquet hall. Thank you.
Thanks, man. Yeah, that is what, based on what Alexi said, that is what our new bookkeepers are working towards, is reallocating expenses where they should be.
I want the report, not reallocation. We want the report.
Well, a current report is inaccurate, because, for example, today I was sitting with the bookkeepers, and $10,000 of Greek Fest sponsorship is sitting in food sales, so it's not accurate. So they are working through the system and working through the past issues and trying to clear it up. A lot of cleanup.
I think we moved already beyond what was on the floor, but I will allow two more comments.
Εγώ ξέρω πως όλα τα χρόνια στην κοινότητα συντηρούσαν οι συλλόγοι και τα organizations που έχει. Και τώρα βλέπω ότι αυτά δεν κάνουν τίποτα για να κάνουν raise λεφτά για να βοηθήσουν την κοινότητα. Και αυτό είναι ο λόγος που το hall δεν είναι διαθέσιμο για τους συλλόγους. Πιο οικονομικό, να μπορούν να κάνουν events να κάνουν raise money οι συλλόγοι, τα organizations και να δίνουν τα λεφτά στην κοινότητα, γιατί έτσι πάντα γινότανε. Τώρα τα organizations, συλλόγοι, δεν έχουν λεφτά να βοηθήσουν την κοινότητα γιατί δεν κάνουν fundraising events. Και αυτά όλα γινότανε για όλα τα χρόνια στο community center. Και τώρα το community center λένε είναι όλο γεμάτο. Δηλαδή δεν έχουμε days να κάνουμε book για dances. Everything is so expensive. They can afford to rent the hall, to do dances. So νομίζω θα πρέπει να δώσετε σημασία και στους συλλόγους, όπως είναι τώρα το Αβιανό, ο Παρνασσός. Κάνει χορό με 100 άτομα. Δεν είναι αυτό να συντηρήσει το χολ. Δεν θα βγάλει ούτε ο Παρνασσός λεφτά, ούτε το χολ λεφτά. Δηλαδή είναι όλοι χαμένοι. Εγώ είμαι σίγουρη πως από το event αύριο το χολ δεν θα βγάλει λεφτά, θα μπει και μέσα. Και ο Παρνασσός ίσως μπει μέσα. Θέλουμε να γίνονται πιο organized events και να έχετε, δεν ξέρω, μήπως χρειαστεί να κάνετε όπως παλιά, οι συλλόγοι, όπως είναι η Φιλόπτωχος, να μην πληρώνουν. Εχθές είμαστε και πιάζαμε γλυκά στη Φιλόπτωχο και είχαν μαζευτεί 2-3 πιάτα και θέλαν να βάλουν το dishwasher για να πλύνουν 2-3 πιάτα. Δεν είναι αυτό σωστό. Λέει, άμα δεν τα πλύνουμε, λέει, θα μας χρεώσει, θα χρεώσει τη Φιλόπτωχο η κοινότητα. Είναι δυνατόν? Η Φιλόπτωχο δουλεύει για την κοινότητα. Ό,τι λεφτά βγάζουν στην κοινότητα. Όπως και σήμερα. Δεν είπατε πόσα λεφτά έχει δώσει η Φιλόπτωχο στην κοινότητα. Είναι πάρα πολλά. Τα βγάζουν και τα δίνουν στην κοινότητα. Λοιπόν, πρέπει και εσείς να τις βοηθάτε. Είπανε, ήθελαν να φτιάξουν τα γλυκά. Όχι, λέει, θα πληρώνετε την κουζίνα για να φτιάξετε τα γλυκά. Μα είναι δυνατόν να πληρώνει η Φιλόπτωχος για να φτιάξει τα γλυκά για το fundraising event, να πληρώνει την κοινότητα? Δηλαδή δεν το βλέπω σωστό. Λέμε το ένα χέρι βοηθάει το άλλο, αλλά και η κοινότητα πρέπει να βοηθήσει τα organizations να κάνουν fundraising events, να δώσουν τα λεφτά στην κοινότητα. Δηλαδή στην κοινότητα πάνε τα λεφτά. Αλλά θα πρέπει να γίνονται πιο πολλά fundraising events στην κοινότητα. Όχι μόνο το πανηγύρι και το Coldplay dinner, να γίνονται πιο πολλά events. Για τους 3 ιεράρχες, για το Mother's Day, για το Valentine's Day, για όλα αυτά. Ήταν organizations που κάνανε αυτά τα events. Και όλα αυτά τώρα το κάνουμε blame στο COVID. Δεν φταίει το COVID. Το COVID δεν φταίει για όλα. Τέλος πάντων. Συγγνώμη που σας καθυστέρησα.
Before Nick speaks, I'll answer that as best as I can. We did an exercise back in 2020 when I was on the board that did in fact look at the P&Ls of all our in-house events. And if any of you remember, the sad reality is 90% of our in-house events actually lost money. That's
an in-house event?
Pardon me?
What's an in-house event?
So that would be if we did an Apopias dance, we did Filopos dance, Vasilopita, association dances. There were discounts given, money was exchanged, but the reality is it does come at a cost. We really forget that just turning the lights on, basics, there is a cost to this event center. And we've never put that into, for everyone to see. Dean Woodnakis did an in-depth analysis and did a wonderful job of showing these numbers. Last night at the PAN Association meeting, one of the biggest topics was, why is it so expensive to rent my own hall? And I took it upon myself to try to get everybody in that room, because that's where that decision needs to be made. Every association needs to be on the same page, paying the same thing, but we need to start with the actual numbers. That being insurance, our basic utilities. There's so many factors to just have this building empty. Off the top of my head, that number is $300,000. That's just to keep this building empty, and we know those numbers because it was empty for a long time, and we knew what the carrying costs were. I am more than willing to work with all the associations to make this possible, but the reality is we've got to be careful. Sometimes fundraisers don't make as much money as we want them to. There's a lot of sacrifice, there's a lot of volunteer hours that go into it as well. It's a lot of effort. And for me, the idea of these events is to bring people together. The idea of it bringing money is secondary. And I do want to help, and it's just a matter of getting everybody together, especially the associations. We were there last night. That's my mandate, to put a plan together to get a multi-level plan that's the same for everybody across the board.
I'm going to be brief. I said you were going to be the last one, but then I just noticed that John is up too, and I don't want to offend the Crichton.
Just a couple of things. Number one, some clarification for the church basement. After the flood, did we go with the insurance, or did we get a cash out and we hired our own contractors? And if we did, why do we not have any heat? Was that they forgot it, or they capped it, or what's going on with the heat downstairs? That's my first question. And second question about the Maryland property. We haven't discussed that. Father mentioned something, but is it going?
We did.
Is it going on the block?
It might. That's not our decision. That's we're kind of. The Maryland property, if we want to discuss it, we absolutely can. I know Father brought it up. Right now, it's vacant. We don't have the money to fix it, to rent it. Everybody's all over the place on this one. A lot of people want to keep it. A lot of people want to rent it. This is something that I don't think the board has the authority to figure out. I'd like to see the GAs. If you have a suggestion, put it on the floor. That's what we're here for. That's why we're here today.
And the heat.
When the flood happened, the radiators along the perimeter of the basement were damaged through the water, so they had to be removed. The cost to reinstall radiators was high. Plus, we also found that a lot of our radiators and systems weren't working. So, for example, the whole church building has one valve to shut off the whole system. So, for example, if one radiator starts leaking in the corner, you got to replace it. You got to shut off the whole system to fix one radiator in the basement corner. So the system was flawed. It needed work to begin with. Plus the radiators being damaged from the water infiltration. At the time, it was better to look at a different system, because also with the flood and the renovation, the air conditioner was also removed. So the plan was to look at a system that could do both. That cost came in very high, so we went back and forth a little bit. Now we're considering different options to see something more cost effective. So that's essentially the answer to your question.
So we're going to have, when will the heat be restored? Or we're just going to be baseboard heating till the spring?
No, so right now we have a temporary heating solution that's minimal cost. We'll be hoping, over the winter we're going to be looking at what options make sense. And then hopefully in the spring or summer we can install something that will be heating and cooling. All right. That's the plan.
Yanni, you're the last speaker.
Το μόνο που θέλω να πω είναι ότι για να προχωρήσει το κέντρο παλιά όπως ήταν πριν το COVID, από όταν έφυγε ο Jason δεν υπάρχει ένας στάνταρ μάγειρας εδώ. Και όπως ερχόταν παλιά που όπως έφυγε ο Jason, έκτηνες γελάμε και μετά σου λέγανε πρέπει να βρεις εσύ προσωπικό, να βρεις εσύ μάγειρα. Εκεί χάσαμε πάρα πολύ κόσμο. Για να ξανάρθει ο κόσμος μέσα πρέπει να φέρουμε ένα μάγειρα πίσω να είναι μόνιμος. Εάν γίνονται αυτή τη στιγμή 30 events το χρόνο, τα 25 είναι διαφορετικό προσωπικό. Δεν μπορεί να έχετε κάθε event που έχουμε καινούργιο προσωπικό να μην ξέρουν πού είναι το κάθε πράγμα. Και να επαναφέρουν πίσω τα stands με τους δίσκους. Εάν πληρώνεις $30 την ώρα σερβιτόρο και δεν μπορεί να πιάσει 2 πιάτα, και εκεί που θέλουν 5 σερβιτόρους και παίρνουμε 10, εκεί πάνε τα λεφτά. Όσο και να αυξήσουμε το membership, εκεί θα τα χάνουμε. Ευχαριστώ και καλό βράδυ.
If this discussion is over, the initial motion was for an 8-minute discussion. We've gone out 3 times, correct? And so we can't continue on. Very briefly, please.
Okay, so just further to the event center, I'm looking at the statement of operations, the financial statements for the year, and the profit loss statement that the audit committee received last year. So the total cost for utilities, property taxes, and insurance for this building for 2023 was $103,117. It wasn't $300,000 or $200,000. The cost to keep it is $103,117 if it's not operating as a business.
There's also basics. There's a lot of numbers that are not operating. There's more numbers in there. We can do a detailed analysis. So one is going to be there's still a need for snow removal. There's still a need for basic staffing to do walkthroughs, and of course maintenance and upkeep. So that number is obviously, regardless of what it is, we do have a starting point. Because when Dean did his analysis, I think it was 100. Dean Guernakis. It was about 100 and I can't remember the exact. I was hoping to find it tonight, but I've lost access to my old emails. But my point is, when I have these numbers, that's what I want to get together with all the associations to get that number where the starting point is. But the carrying costs, they are higher than what we want to hear.
Okay, thanks.
So, I already had a motion from the floor to adjourn from George Orgaras. Who was the seconder? I don't recall. Yes, sir. All in favor? Those against? Committee is adjourned. Please return your tickets to Mano or Manos for Mano Orgaras. Thank you. Merry Christmas, everybody.
That's